So I have now watched this Fish People movie more times than I would like to admit. And although I have seen it a number of times, the emotional impact that it has is not reduced at all. It doesn't fail to bring me to tears of joy and sadness, honestly. The movie itself is super entertaining and amazingly animated, as is expected from any Pixar film. I'm not a movie critic and I'm not a writer, but the meaning that I and countless other people can see in this movie beyond what is intended is, I think, pretty powerful and obvious. For those of you who are not aware, Luca is a 2021 film that's following three friends for a summer adventure. They are the main protagonists, Luca Paguro, his best friend, Alberto Scorfano, and Giulia Marcovaldo. Giulia is the local girl from Porto Rosso that they meet upon coming into town. And although she's just a human girl, she's very outspoken and extremely protective of the boys when they first meet. On the other fin, Alberto and Luca both come from a species of fish people who live in the ocean, and when they come onto land, they can assume the boring everyday facade of a human, through a very pretty transformation actually. And as long as they remain dry, they appear human. The story begins when Luca, who is tending to his fish, comes upon a scattering of human items throughout the field where he's tending to them. It turns out that these items actually belong to Alberto, who he's surprised to find actually goes onto land and just hangs out there. Alberto pulls Luca out of the water, basically making him transform into a human, and he's reluctant to stay there on the surface with him, but he does return the next day out of curiosity. They spend time together on land where Alberto, who claims to be an expert on being on land, teaches Luca the ropes of what it means to be human. Walking, breathing, looking at the sun, basic human stuff.
It's the best. Everything good is above the surface.
Like, what else?
Air! Gravity, also known as falling! The sky, clouds, the sun. Whoa, don't look at it. Just kidding. Definitely look at it.
Eventually, Alberto brings Luca to his little hideaway where he stashes away all his human items, and among those things is a poster for a Vespa. Luca becomes quickly enamored with the idea of owning a Vespa after Alberto explains that it could take them anywhere they want to go in the world. Eventually, Luca's parents find out that he's actually going to the surface, and Luca lets it slip that he's actually up there with somebody. His overprotective mother, of course, just wants what's best for him, but she tells Luca that they are sending him to the deep, which is basically the deep ocean, to live with his weird see-through uncle. Luca, of course, does not want to spend his days in the dark eating whale carcass, so he escapes. So he goes back and he tells Alberto the situation. Alberto suggests that instead of sticking around and waiting for his parents to find them, that they make their way to the town of Porto Rosso, which they can see clearly from Alberto's little hideaway tower. After a super playful and really fun swimming scene, they come over to the town and they quickly discover that it's pretty dangerous for anybody that's not a human. Of course, this is where they meet their friend Giulia, who protects them from the bully Hercule. Giulia also explains to them that there's an annual triathlon, and it consists of swimming, eating pasta, and cycling, the three big sports. After Giulia explains that there could be prize money won, they're extremely interested because it's one step closer for them to be able to get a Vespa and travel the world together. While the focus of the main movie is on all three friends, the intention of this video is to maybe explain why some people might see more to the relationship between Luca and Alberto than a simple platonic friendship. In between the entire movie, basically, there are moments between Alberto and Luca where there's extreme tender friendship, trust being built, and even learning that confident people can be wrong and sad. While there's nothing really inherently homo about any of that, the seemingly queer themes are a bit hard to overlook if you're familiar with them. As a gay person myself, I know they're a bit difficult to ignore. That would include things like hiding your true self from others, especially people that are close to you, exploring those things about you in secret, and literally turning into a completely different person around others. This is sometimes referred to as code switching, and it's not exclusive to the gay community, but it is prevalent. And honestly, just never really being able to be truly yourself around even those you call friends. These things are very familiar and seem intentional for anyone with a queer identity. But according to director Enrico Casarosa, Luca is a simple story about platonic friendships. And fair enough, Casarosa's platonic friendship story is 100% there, and it's very well done. The story of Luca is extremely simple, so it's open to many interpretations, simply on that nature alone. If you're an outcast or if you're an underdog, it's really a great movie for you. And seeing these kids grow close and be the happiest they've been is extremely endearing. However, in some instances, it seems like Luca and Alberto's relationship is a bit more intimate, which makes sense considering they met and spent time together apart from Giulia. They learn about each other's dreams, insecurities, share a secret, and even have similar ambitions. I think one of the biggest scenes in the movie where it seems like it's less than platonic is when Alberto basically outs himself to Giulia as a sea monster. It kind of seems like he expects Luca to come clean as well, but in a painful twist, Luca recoils and pretends that he was unaware of his friend's condition.
Don't hurt us!
See? I knew this would
Sea
happen.
monster!
Luca?
If you're an LGBT individual, this could be a little familiar. Knowing you are not the same as others, but making sure to say or do as others say and do, kind of to preserve yourself and not stand out, is pretty common. There's also all these instances of these two friends just wanting to run away with each other and see the world and be happy. The intimacy between them is extremely pure and innocent, and for some, especially queer individuals, it's hard not to see yourself in these scenarios and kind of fill the spaces of what was missed out in youth, definitely. Being able to be your true self around somebody completely in every sense and not hold anything back, I think is the ultimate comfort for a lot of us. Near the end of the film, Luca's mom is actually extremely worried of whether he will be accepted by people or not. This is another huge worry for queer people and their families, never really knowing if somebody's an ally or not, kind of having to wait until they say something weird or awkward around you. Giulia also being extremely accepting and even protective after finding out that the boys are sea monsters is also extremely familiar with having friends who were strong allies for you or the community, with Giulia even wondering why they would risk themselves being exposed in such a town. Ultimately, for most queer individuals, we look for our own communities and people that we can kind of hold on to and stick with, not unlike these three friends who find each other.
What he did today was amazing. But we can't let him stay in this world. Can we?
Some people, they'll never accept him. But some will. And he seems to know how to find the good ones.
This film could have easily been about one or both of the boys, having this kind of relationship with Giulia. And it kind of seems like as long as it's a hetero relationship, most people would not have a problem with it. As Giulia and Luca get closer, kind of feels or seems like it might get romantic, but the interactions between the two are just playful and very familial. I know to a lot of people that kind of just reinforces the idea that Alberto and Luca are meant to have something more, a little bit more special. That's obvious from the beginning and the way they meet first, and kind of how they have a closer bond between the two of them. There's also the extreme protectiveness of Alberto when he notices that Luca is getting closer to Giulia. And it's almost like the reaction of a jealous boyfriend. He even brings Luca down by telling him he would never fit into a normal school, after Luca expresses that he would like to go to school with Giulia maybe. Luca obviously did not mean to hurt his friend, but Alberto obviously has fears that he's losing him. Seeing as these are obviously children in the movie, I've seen a lot of pushback from people who don't even want to consider that this movie could be a little bit queer-coded or call its characters gay. And outright, the characters are not homosexual. The director himself said that. So I don't think that's really an issue here. I bring it up more just to show that even with the intention that the characters are not gay, a lot of people still see themselves in it. The argument that I mostly see is that it's inappropriate and gross to kind of see these kids that way because of their age and how people try to sexualize it, but romance or intimacy doesn't have to be inherently sexual. A good example of this to me is Ponyo. It's a great story about young love, and it's as innocent as can be. Moonrise Kingdom is another really good example. A couple of kids, they become pen pals, they develop a romantic relationship, and then just want to run away and be free with each other, not have the pressures of society on them. Same with the romance between Chihiro and Haku in Spirited Away. The curse from Zeniba's seal was literally broken by true love. Like, it's nothing bad, it's just a way to tell a story. And it's not hard to accept that these intimate relationships happen and they can be innocent and relatable to adults at the same time. In general, I don't think it's difficult to accept that there are queer kids out there, even if you don't think there are. And while the movies that I talked about are direct examples of love stories, it's kind of important to remember that queer media is really hard to come by. So it's not unreasonable for people to pull themes and ideas out of something, even when it's not intentional, just based on our life experiences and general feelings. And again, I understand that Casarosa's intention was absolutely not to create a queer film. This movie was based off of his friendship with his best friend Alberto in real life.
Inspiration for Luca are multiple, but one of the core one is the summers I spent with my best friend Alberto when we were kids. I was around 12 when I met him, and I was a timid and shy kid, and he was a bit of a troublemaker, an extrovert. He was running around, always one new thing every day. So the experience of really having a lot of fun and being kind of out of my comfort zone with someone who's very different from me was something I really wanted to talk about. These friendships that at that kind of right age when we're starting to kind of leave the comfort of the family, that challenge you, that kind of start making you find your identity.
But it's important to understand that art can be interpreted in many ways by different people. We don't all see things through one lens, and it's easily just a story about two bros who meet their girl boss friend and vibe for the summer. All the moments with Julia are sweet enough, and the film is a joy to watch all its own, just taking it as is. I know for me, the main emotional pull of this movie is definitely the friendship between Luca and Alberto. While I don't deny that the queer themes are there, for me, it was just a really beautiful story of friendship, and I really enjoyed that because it shows, Alberto and Luca getting super close. They're developing their dreams together, but then Luca starts to want different things. He's growing off of that. That leads to Alberto getting jealous and kind of self-destructing a little bit. But in the end, he sacrifices his dream, even if it's just for a little bit, just so that Luca can kind of go out and experience the world. And just because his friend's not there, it doesn't mean Alberto stops living, which can kind of happen in toxic friendships. It's shown in the end credits that he still wants a Vespa. I'm sure he still wants to travel the world, but he's living a rich, full life, and that's beautiful. Ultimately, I kind of just want people to consider what these kind of movies can do for others, who might not think like you. The impact that these films have on them, whatever the intention was meant to be. I know a lot of my queer friends and I missed out on innocent kid stuff, like finding someone and that blossoming into kind of like a first love or a romance. And growing up in the 90s and 2000s, there wasn't really much queer media for kids that I can honestly think of. So it really is powerful, especially for me personally, when I can pull these kind of things from a piece of media and kind of just enjoy it. And it's an even better feeling knowing that this media might reach a younger audience that could also be struggling with the things I struggled with when I was young. It kind of lets you know that there are others like you out there, and you eventually do find your people. Even if you don't see all the fruitiness that this movie could potentially hold, I think that's alright. Because at the end of the day, it's a really nice, heartwarming movie about friendship, about people who are extremely different and maybe have some similarities, just getting to know each other and being able to, get others off of their island, so to speak. Hopefully this video gives you a little bit of perspective into why other people might see it a certain way or see the things that they do in the movie. Just try to be nice to each other and consider other perspectives, I guess. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.
I can't do it without you.
But you're never without me. The next time that you jump off a cliff or tell Bruno to quit bothering you, that's me.
But how am I gonna know you're okay?
You got me off the island, Luca. I'm okay.
So I've never done anything like this. I was a bit nervous, and I still am a bit nervous of putting this out there because I'm not very eloquent with my writing at all. And I hope this doesn't come across as like really weird. or unfortunate. I just want to kind of give people another perspective, like I said at the end. I'm not sure if I'll do this again with any other kind of video. Luca just kind of pushed me to do it because, I don't know, it's a different film for me. Consider following my other channel, BoredHouse, where I do stuff with my friend Sporhard, who, honestly, this movie reminds me a lot about him. And maybe that's why it's so emotional for me as well. Also, drop a comment. Let me know what you think of this or what your thoughts on the movie are. I would love to read them. I love reading that stuff, and hopefully I see you guys again. Thank you guys.